Hey everyone, welcome back to the Spark Spotlight podcast. In this episode, I met with Arthur and Sam from Core 3D Prototyping. They're the first student-led startup here at the I2C, and they had a lot of really interesting insights about the business landscape. We discussed the inspiration for their company and many of the lessons they've learned as they've built up their business. Let's roll! Hey Sam and Arthur, how are you guys doing today?
Good, how about you?
Doing great. So why don't you start by telling our listeners a little bit about yourselves and Core 3D Prototyping, kind of what your company does.
So I'm Arthur Murray. I'm a mechanical engineering major here at UAH. I'm also minoring in computer science, and I'm a co-founder of Core 3D Prototyping, Core 3D Design and Prototyping.
Going off that, I'm Sam Lewis. I'm also the co-founder of Core 3D Prototyping. I'm an electrical engineering major, and I'm doing a minor in entrepreneurship.
Awesome.
So triple E.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's great. So you guys are co-founders of Core 3D Prototyping. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about what you guys do there, kind of what the company's all about?
So Core is a full-service design company. So we do everything from the 3D digital design to the final in-use physical prototype of it. So we can do prototypes in between, and like I mentioned, the final end one, so like the final product that can actually be used in the field. Yeah. And I think the big thing about our business that kind of makes it different is we have three different sides to it. We do projects, contracts, and products. Right now, we're definitely working on the contract side more, along with the projects, and eventually we'll work on doing products as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Big business here to be found in Huntsville, I'm sure. So how did the idea for your company come about?
Said that one.
I don't think we really thought about a business at first. We thought of what we can do. What can we do to improve campus?
Yeah,
so we
awesome.
thought of having these bike hubs to make the bikes kind of like electric. And that went somewhere. We realized it probably wasn't the best. We also thought of having electric scooters because I have one myself. I was like, that would be pretty cool. But they already had the bike, so I don't think the school really want that.
Yeah.
So then we were like, both of these includes designing something. So why not start a business where we design and prototype?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we figured that all our ideas all had like one thing in common, and if we can do something that kind of encompasses that, and I think it's important in business not to feel like you're trapped, like you're kind of closed into doing one thing, but being able to do design and prototype allows you to kind of branch off in directions that you choose to go in. So
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. So what kind of like gave you the initial idea for like taking that bike project, for example? Was it like was that kind of a pain point that you guys recognized, or did you hear other people talking about it, or did it just kind of almost start off as a joke between you guys or something like that?
Me and Arthur, we met at the overnight visit for UAH back in like September of 2019, I think.
Yeah, 2019.
And since then we were like, okay, I always told Arthur, it'd be really cool to like do a business or do some kind of project in college, and he shared the same idea. And so since then we were talking during school, texting, and we were just like trying to think of different ideas. And the main thing we always focus on is what's something we can make that involves engineering principles that will improve campus.
Gotcha.
And so first we were like, okay, well, they have let's do scooters. We think scooters would be pretty cool. Electric scooters would be fun to build. Arthur likes them.
I love it.
Yeah. And then we're like, well, they already have the infrastructure for the bikes, so maybe let's try to do the bike hubs, make those electric. Then we thought about it some more, and we're like, it just doesn't seem reasonable. People may use it, people may not, but it's not that big of an improvement. So I think in engineering, the main thing is to find a problem and fix it, not create a problem and then fix it yourself. Like, there's no purpose in that. And so I think that was kind of where we decided, let's not do that. And then we kind of looked into like the different ideas of as far as doing a business and stuff like that. So
and we knew that in terms of having something where we're designing and prototyping, we're like in the perfect area for it.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, especially here at UAH, having the I2C here is such a boon for small businesses. And I think it's amazing that that's an opportunity that's not just available to people who've been in the game for years, but also students who are looking for like kind of their first foray into, they're looking to start their entrepreneurial journey.
And especially I think engineering and business has they combine so much. I don't think a lot of people realize that. But I think the same principles you can use in engineering, you can apply to business, and they can combine kind of like perfectly, really. So I definitely think in our community, this is wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And so kind of with your business that you've started, you said that like your initial idea was finding some way to improve campus. what are some of the ways that maybe you've gotten to see that come into fruition?
Mm-hmm. You want to take that one? Or?
We realized, so for the project side of our company, we realized that it's very hard for underclassmen to get internship or experience opportunities.
Yeah.
Just because they want you to be like junior or senior, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So for the project side, we want to be able to work with the underclassmen and offer them experience while also, having a very nice project that'll improve campus specifically.
Yeah.
I think for us, what we kind of centered on for that was autonomous robot delivery service. You may have seen it before, like Starship robots at Purdue and stuff like that. And we thought it'd be really cool if, rather than try to make something for profit, we wanted to do it to where you can gain experience, and then the designers, the underclassmen working on it, we want to have every engineering facet from programming, designing, building, project management. And so we want to have mentors come in from the surrounding area. So not only do the underclassmen, they make those connections with the business, and those businesses can see like kind of what the school's producing and kind of like find future employees for their companies. And then and then you can also have your design portfolio work on throughout that. And I think it's a really cool project to be able to get hands-on experience that you can't really get anywhere else, really.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I think you guys were some of the Boost competitors, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember watching that. It just didn't kind of. I guess it's been a while, so the faces didn't quite match up. And then you mentioned the autonomous delivery service, and that rang a bell. But I'm looking forward to hopefully in the fall getting back and doing more in-person events with the I2C.
Yeah, that should be very cool, and especially since this is we just finished our freshman year. It'd be very cool to actually like see in-person stuff happen. So
but also I think that the point that you make about it being really difficult for underclassmen to get positions and actually start getting experience early on, that's huge. I think that, people joke a lot about how, for so many companies, it seems like to even get in the door, you've got to have, years of experience. And it's like, well, where do you even go to get that experience in the first place?
Yeah.
So
another part was like when you're an underclassman, you usually have more free time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And when you're an upperclassman, you're probably focusing more on your classes, so it makes sense to get your opportunities and internships when you're a freshman and sophomore.
Yeah. And especially with small businesses, it's not like, a lot of people really value college as something where they get an opportunity to be really social in a way that they maybe haven't before. And the thing about small businesses is that it kind of combines those things where you're getting experience and you're also, potentially making lifelong friends. So I think that's great, especially just because it gives more time for students to really build up their experience. Starting early on and being able to work on that, potentially up through their entire college career. And somebody who comes out of college and is able to say, I've been working for the last 4 years is going to have a huge step up in the job market over somebody who, maybe hasn't had an internship. So
and I think clubs definitely play like a huge role in that, between Space Hardware Club, Vex Robotics, and hopefully we want to organize our ADR project, the autonomous delivery robot, as an RSO as well, so we can work with the school on that and be able to bring in as many people as possible to work on it.
So what's kind of been your experience getting the company off the ground so far?
I think this is a really fun question because I feel like we're still coming off the ground. We're very new. We've definitely been doing a lot of like the behind the scenes planning for over a year now. All like the business plan, all like the written formal stuff. And I think now we're finally getting into doing the actual work of it and the hands-on stuff. And that's definitely been a challenge. It's been very fun. But we're still working on it, and I don't know if you want to talk about some of the challenges that you've had so far.
Yeah, I would say for me, because I know Sam, he's had another business before.
Yeah.
It's all brand new to me.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. Like, I have to learn more stuff. I'm learning from him. He's very great with explaining things that I might not necessarily understand.
Yeah.
So it's very nice to have someone like him who has a little bit of experience.
Thank you. I know for me, it's definitely been having time management between working, doing summer school, which isn't even like full-time school, and doing the business. I think that's definitely been It's maybe not difficult to manage it, but I'm definitely getting more used to working here till like 2 a.m. and then you know, on my off time.
It's only two of us.
Yeah,
so-
yeah, especially with there only being two of us because we just started our first contract as well.
Yeah.
So we're working on that. We're trying to also finish getting the business set up and then do like all like the formality stuff. And it's just like you have a whole lot of stuff, areas to go at one time.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard when you got two people.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who haven't, started their own business before don't realize necessarily how much work has to go on behind the scenes before everything kind of all comes together and you've actually got this business that you're working on. I'm kind of like also working on some stuff myself, and just like the amount of like just different little details that you've got to wrap your mind around is enormous. And so, I mean, you guys said that you just finished your freshman year, right? Yeah, that's pretty incredible that you guys are, going ahead and tackling that this early on. Like, that's really impressive.
Yeah, I feel like in my head, I always like to think like 20 years ahead, like where do I want to be 20 years from now? And then kind of work it backwards. Like if I want to be there, what did I do in the past? That kind of get me up there.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's super helpful with kind of like trying to stay on course and like have an overall picture of things. But yeah, it definitely makes you feel like you're behind a lot. But yeah, it definitely keeps us on track, I think, quite a bit.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, is kind of look at things as like, where do I want to be in 20 years? Well, to meet that goal, where do I have to be in 10 years?
Yeah.
To meet that goal, where do I have to be in 5 years?
Yep.
Yeah, that's smart. And then you mentioned that you've actually run a business before. How different has the experience with this business been?
This one is definitely more set up, more thought out, more planned. In high school, I did a water bottle company called Aquinas.
Gotcha.
And I made reusable water bottles and did hydro dipping patterns and designs on the outside. So it was really fun, and it was a great way. It was a great introduction to like how business works. And that one was just me. So definitely having someone else to work with has been like a huge game changer, because when you can be thinking an idea in your head, but then you hear that your partner also says it, you're like, oh, well, shoot, we're on the same page, and you kind of get stuff going a lot sooner, and you keep each other on track. And it's definitely different when you work by yourself. But again, I also it was really nice because I was in CEO. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's Creating Entrepreneurial Opportunities. It's by the Midland Institute for Entrepreneurship. So they take high school seniors and instead of going to class for your first 2 hours a day, you go through a program, and you tour different businesses around the local area. You actually get to learn from entrepreneurs in person, and as a class, you start your own business together. And the money you raise from that, you actually take and start your own business.
Wow.
So prior to that, I have the water bottle company. I just thought this. I was like, oh, perfect. I'm going to do that next. And it was definitely, it taught me how to make connections and how to talk to people in a business sense. Because I know that might sound odd to say that, but it's definitely, for me, it was always difficult because I always saw business people as like up here, and it's like really intimidating to talk to them,
Yeah.
And then you kind of just realize people are people. And it really gives you that sense of how to talk to people, and I don't know, how to express your goals in a way that inspires other people to kind of join in.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I think my biggest takeaway from having a business in high school was, just learning how to share your goals to get other people to join. Yeah.
Yeah. And so with you having this being like your first kind of experience with entrepreneurship, do you feel like you're still in that, business people are up here and they're kind of like intimidating, or you feel like you're kind of like learning how to maneuver in those situations?
I feel like they're a little up there.
Yeah.
Like in terms, for example, like Boeing. Imagine if you were to go to Boeing, they're like, who are you?
Yeah.
But I know eventually we're going to be up there.
Yeah. And going off that, it is also like, it's odd being as young as we are, because it's like a whole credibility factor too. Because you're working with people and they kind of see you. It goes one of two ways, it seems like. Either they see you and they kind of just blow you off a little bit just because of your age, or they give you lots of praise because of your age. And it's just like, I don't really want either. I just want, be treated like everyone else. And it sounds really weird to say that, but yeah.
And I know that's why you have to kind of like start off small and work your way up to the bigger companies. You can't just immediately start off with the biggest company that you see.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, that's actually one of the questions I'm glad that you guys brought that up about, the way that you're kind of perceived differently as being students. Like, how has that really been? Like, what are some of the effects that you've seen?
I definitely think making contacts has been a little bit more difficult, but luckily having the space here, it's really nice because
I run into like one new person every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you always hear like do that elevator pitch, and you never realize like how actually important that is. I've met 3 people so far, and they've all been in the elevator.
Wow.
So definitely being in there, be able to pitch your business, who you are, what you're about, in that short little period is huge. It's so important. So especially having, like I said, this area where it's a compact, tight space with tons of people and contacts to meet. I think that's huge for us, especially as a design and prototype company for sure.
I
Yeah,
actually met
definitely.
one of the people that you had on the podcast before, Jonathan Roswald from Decatur.
Mhm.
So he's pretty nice guy.
I like Jonathan.
Really like him.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually haven't had the chance to meet with him yet, but I'm still kind of new here, trying to work my way around, get to know everybody. But yeah, I mean, hey, open invitation to anyone who wants to pop on down to the podcasting studio and just have a chat for a little while. It's really this space that we have here at the I2C is fantastic for networking and getting connected with people.
Oh, and going off that too, just like the credibility side of it is like having an address. It's huge because before I was working on my bed in my dorm room. So it's definitely a really big deal to have an address, to be able to send packages here and stuff like that. Yeah.
So on that note, what is the process with, working with the I2C? How has that been for you guys?
It's been very fun. They're very nice. We were so excited when we moved into the office because I've been waiting for it, and it's so nice. I will say that, this is my first time being in the building. Sam saw it before, so he was always talking about, oh, it's so nice. And I was like, yeah, it looks nice from the outside. And I came inside and just so nice.
They definitely make sure to provide everything. So, all you have to do is focus on your business, You even have showers in the bathroom, which I thought was, insane.
Wow.
Yeah, which is pretty cool for, if you're working, super late. And so it's been amazing so far, and it's really heartwarming to be able to see people support you that much, because it's they're just taking a chance on us, who are we, and then they give us an office and they help us with all this stuff and help us get organized and just I don't know, it's huge to be able to get support from someone who's I don't know, it's really nice.
They made us business cards so we wouldn't have to do that. They put our logo on the office door, little things like that. And we've been working with. Our space is joint between the College of Business and I2C, so we kind of get both sides of it, which is super nice.
That's, I think, a perfect place for you guys, because it's really, honestly, kind of cool and symbolic that you guys are the first student-led startup here, and you guys are kind of right there at that boundary.
It is really cool.
So I mean, one thing that you mentioned, just having an office, that's a huge deal. I'm sure you guys are in a very, very small percentage of people your age that can say that they've got an office. So that's something that's really impressive, and I'm sure that that's something that you guys are super proud of, being able to go to people and say that.
Yeah, it is quite interesting.
It's very nice that we aren't allowed 3D printers in our dorms, so we had nowhere to put the 3D printers. But now that we have an office, we can put all of our 3D printers in there, so we can actually be able to print things for people without having to worry about finding a place to print them or put the 3D printers.
Really seems like something totally necessary for the business that you guys are doing.
For sure.
And so really one thing that I'm kind of just curious about is, how kind of satisfied have you guys been with the actual day-to-day work that you've been doing? You guys enjoying it?
Some days it's really busy, but we know we have to get it done. But once we get all the startup stuff complete, I feel like it'll be a lot easier, just because we don't have to worry about, for example, writing the proper mission for the business, writing making the website. We'll just have to do little updates on the website rather than making the actual website.
I think for me, I really enjoyed that kind of hard work part of it a lot. And I've never had someone to do it with, so thank you for all the help. It's really awesome to be able to share it with somebody. And for instance, I'll go pick Arthur up, we'll drive over here and we'll drop him off after, and then we'll fist bump.
I remember yesterday, or day before yesterday, it was just pouring rain. So we're let's stay here and work on stuff.
Yeah. We've come up here countless times to 1, 2 a.m. just for 8 hours at a time.
Yeah. Well, you realize if you really want to do something, you'll make time for it.
Yeah.
Just because a lot of the times when we're here, it's after like everyone leaves. Like we don't really see that many people
Yeah.
here after like 5. So
Yeah, definitely. I know that there's just kind of a certain point in the day, which I mean, right now with COVID, everybody kind of, you know, is still, I think, hesitant to kind of congregate out in the common areas. But you know, you see it a little bit more, which I think is good. It helps for everyone to kind of come together as a network more. Yeah. So I'm excited to see that continue to increase.
Yeah. And then going back to like the work part of it, I've always wanted to have a business for the past I'm 19, 5 years.
Wow.
It's just always been my dream. And so to actually like be able to like do that with somebody, it's like what?
Feels surreal.
It's so cool. Yeah, it
really
is surreal.
Like imagine walking someone like, here's my business card. Like
Yeah, it's like, even tiny things like that. It's just like so cool. Or even just like if me and Arthur stay in the office, like trying to write down sizes for the projects we're doing on the whiteboard. It's just like cool to like be able to be someone to do that. I remember telling Arthur, I've always wanted one of those whiteboards on wheels. And again, that's just another small thing that just like makes it so cool.
I don't know, my favorite part about the office, the desks.
Yes.
The desks move up and down.
Like standing desks?
Yes. Yeah. They're so cool.
Yeah. I think this one's actually a standing desk as well. So haven't had anybody come in here and be like, yeah, let's stand for potentially an hour. But it does have that functionality. So how would you say that being here at the I2C has really affected like kind of the business opportunities that are available to you, and then like also kind of just the way that you approach business on a daily basis?
I definitely think it has us make more of a schedule. Like, so now we have like our weeks planned out for us, what we're going to accomplish each day, and we plan time to come in for that. Like we have down like what we absolutely need to finish this day, and we always make sure to come in and make time for that. I think definitely personally, I like having my spaces separated. So I got my room, sleeping and stuff, and then I have, I either go to Morton Hall or I go somewhere else to work on homework, just so I have like that separation. I don't bring homework here or anything because I want to have that, different space. So I think definitely having those separation of spaces has been huge for us, and it really, I think it ups productivity a lot, because if all we do here is business, and when we're here, you're in that mindset like right away. So yeah.
I'll say it's also helped us make sure to document everything. So keeping everything organized. For example, when we have team meetings, document that, save it, so we have it somewhere, so we remember we had a team meeting here. We talked about this specifically. So a year, 2 years from now, we can look back and be like, remember that one meeting we had when we were just starting out? That kind of stuff. So.
I think it's really interesting as well, because I don't know if other people do this, but there's only 2 of us, and I still think it's so important to have team meetings. Like, it just gets you on that same page, so like you can move forward. Maybe you split off a little bit, but then you always come back to that same spot. So it keeps you on the same wavelength.
Yeah, that's smart. And what you were talking about with like dividing the spaces. I think that's interesting, just because like in psychology they talk about how the space that you're in has a lot to do with kind of where your mind wanders to, and also specifically like your memory. One piece of advice I heard pretty early on in my college career was, if you've got like a big test that you're going to be taking, if you can, try and study for it in the classroom, because then you create all these little memory cues on the things in the room around you that will bring back those the things that you studied when you're actually there taking the test.
That is interesting.
And so I think the same is definitely true with the way that you're dividing up. I've got homework in this place. I've got leisure time in this other place, and then when I'm here in the office, I'm working on business. It's that there's nothing, you haven't created these associations on the environment around you that are going to distract you and get your mind off of work. It's just total focus on the task at hand.
I definitely think it's interesting, because if I'm at the dorm and I'm like stressed or something, I always come here first. And no matter how busy we are and how stressed I am, like with work stress, it's always like good stress for me. I don't, because there's like stress, and I don't remember what the other one is, but point is, it's good stress. I feel like when I come here, I never go back to the dorm and I'm worried about the business. I always make sure to take care of it here while I'm here.
Yeah. That's good. So what do you guys kind of see as being the future for core 3D prototyping?
I think something that's really important is that we need to build a team. Because like right now we have one contract, Like, what if we had 2 or 3 contracts? Like, there's only 2 of us. So, like,
How many hours do you guys put in per week right now?
I don't know. I haven't been I don't know. I haven't been keeping track too much, but I know it's quite a few. Because there also will be days where we don't come in because we just have like school and work and stuff. But then other days we'll come in for like 10, 12 hours at a time. So I don't know. I think it really.
I guess like around 16, 17.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so it's not like an insane amount at the moment, but I think, and like I said, we just started our first contract on Monday.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that's going to add a considerable amount of time. Yeah, for sure.
We've been in the office for just over a month since we moved in, so we're still organizing stuff. I know Sam did wire management for like 3 hours.
3 hours the other day.
For yesterday,
Wow.
so
Yeah,
we're still getting there, but
yeah.
we spend a lot of time working on the business. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think we both really want to get this off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if that's like working on it at home or like, stuff like that. And I know I like to have it separated, but if I'm laying up bed at night and I just like, I need something to do, I might work on like getting some layouts for documents done or something like that. So I'm a big fan of Excel sheets. I have spent countless hours on Excel sheets. So.
Yeah, I've recently come to realize how powerful they can be.
Yes.
Just especially for like in the past, the way I've used them the most is just for getting like teams organized. They're so helpful.
Yeah, I
We
know.
have one Excel worksheet that's just like all of our like really important information, so it's all in one place.
Yeah.
You can like add contacts,
Financial stuff, our budget outlines for projects, everything.
and like
Inventory.
our inventory on our 3D printer filaments, so like the
Yeah.
colors we have.
Cool.
So.
Yeah.
So what about just kind of the industry that you're in general? Where do you see it going?
I think 3D printing, I think right now it's almost, unless you're a big company, just by like the average person, I think they see it as like a hobby thing. But I think from like the company perspective, I think it's going to be massive in the future. Like, think about it. Like even like Arthur mentioned the other day, even like car companies, Boeing, there's been rocket engines, that not full ones, but smaller ones that have been made with 3D printing things. Because you make stuff solid.
Well, we use our 3D printers. Those are like smaller scale.
Yep.
But bigger companies use bigger scale 3D printers that allow them to use like metal and that kind of stuff. So people don't realize that they're using 3D printers for that. So in the future, I think it'll be really big and like everybody will really want one or have a 3D printer in their home.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
For example, if you break a little knob on your drawer, you can 3D print a new one.
I've done that before at home. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just it's so cool to see like the possibilities with it. And I know it's been around for about 10 years, longer, but it kind of gained popularity in the last 10.
Yeah.
But it's just it's I think it's growing so drastically right now. I think it's huge for it. And then like I said, it really varies with like the big business. Like if you can buy like $100,000 printer, you're gonna be making some awesome stuff in any material you can think of, right? You can do graphene, you can do Kevlar infused filaments, you can do metal. It's like possibilities are endless, really.
Carbon fiber.
Yeah, and like for instance, I made a resin print the other day, or I say the other day, it was like 2 months ago. I did a resin print, and I thought about it because I'm like, well, if I were to do this any other way, I would have had to make the mold first, pour in the resin, take it out, finish it up, all that stuff. But on here, I was able to put it in there, have it in 22 hours.
Yeah.
So it's like it's huge to do something like that. Yeah.
And then it's just like, the number of skills that you've got to learn are kind of in that one specific area cut down just because, if you've got to create a mold, like that's one skill, you've got to know how to specifically get the exact right mixture of like the resin that you're using, everything.
That's a really good point.
And it also helps with like in the design and prototype stage, design something, print it, takes like an hour or even less. And then if that doesn't work, fix the design, try to print it again so you can find exactly what you need in a quick time.
Yeah.
Especially if you have multiple 3D printers.
I definitely think going off that's like kind of like where our business kind of comes in, is because not everyone has the time to like go learn those skills, design it themselves. Because you see a lot of different online 3D printing companies, and what they focus on is you send them the file and they print it, or you can call someone on the phone or submit like a quote online to go get your design done. But if you want to get something done like personal, in-person meeting, have time set up and all that, it's so drastically expensive. And I think what we kind of take the middle ground there is we want to make it personal for not that high personal markup. We want to do it at a reasonable price so everyone can kind of get the design they want. Because it's so cool to say like, oh, I have an idea. I want to make, let's say a handle for something, right? And you don't know what's actually going to feel like in your hand. You don't know anything about it. So to be able to have something like that and be able to mark it up physically within like a day or two, it's crazy. Yeah. So I definitely think we kind of take that middle ground of of making it personal, being able to talk with people. And we do scheduled brainstorms where you come in, you kind of talk about your idea with us. We say what we can do, have the design laid out, the budget, all of that. I think that's a huge part of it that I think a lot of people are kind of missing, because a lot of them just focus on, we 3D print it for you. You send us a file, that's it.
Yeah.
And if you don't have like those in-person meetings, you can't really kind of like tell what kind of personality someone has. So like, if I can look at Sam and be like, oh, I think he might like this based on, he's wearing a Star Wars shirt.
Yeah.
I might think he might like this little Star Wars thing on.
Yeah.
Design.
Yeah, or even just like if someone wants something more modern looking versus more like artsy and stuff like that, you can kind of like gauge that from the person, which is super nice.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's really fascinating, and I think that the fact that you guys have the drive to really work at that, even during school, is hugely impressive. I know that when I finished my freshman year, that starting a business was probably the last thing on my mind.
I remember I was really stressed last year because I was telling Arthur, I'm like, man, we don't have an office. We're in the room here. Like, I don't know what to do. I remember I was so stressed that we hadn't started a business yet, which is like really odd. Yeah.
I remember, like, speaking of being busy with school, I remember when we did the booth pitch competition, we did a lot of the work in like one day. Like, we sat in our hammocks.
Yeah.
Starting at like 2 p.m. and we were working on
The true
the
UAH
pitch.
life.
Yeah, we were working on the pitch for about like 5-6 hours.
Yeah. That one was really interesting because it's like the whole point of it was to do in a short amount of time. So I think we found it on a Thursday. We had to submit our intro by Saturday, I think something like that. So we got all that done. And after that, it was the same week I had 2 tests, I believe, and tons of homework. And we were able to somehow get our whole pitch done for the finals competition. So it was pretty incredible.
And all this helps add to the credibility of our company.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember we wanted to do this. What was the competition that we did with the UV light?
Oh, yeah, we did. It was like a UN-sponsored like worldwide competition to solve. They list like 20 different worldwide problems and try to solve it with something. And we made like a UV purifier little prototype, which is kind of fun.
We found out that the time to submit was like the UK time, not our time, so we missed it by a couple of hours.
The times that messed us up, yeah.
That's rough.
But we have the design. It was very cool.
And like I said, even if we don't go through someone, like even if we're not able to submit it or something like that, and that I don't know, there's an oversight, but even that, we still got the experience out of it. And we still got everything that we would have gotten out of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for coming down to the studio today. It's been a real pleasure to get to chat with you and learn a little bit more about Core 3D prototyping. Really grateful that you guys made time for this, and I'll be seeing you around.
Yeah, it was very cool. Awesome.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
I will say to anyone, don't be afraid to innovate something just because it exists, because something can always be improved.
Yeah.
For example, like a regular table, then they make the standing table.
Yep. Yeah. I know, kind of going back to what we talked about earlier so much is that don't be afraid to change your idea. Because me and Arthur have been through countless ideas, and I think the more open to change you are, the more likely you'll be successful.
I mean, I think that seems like it's kind of the whole philosophy behind your guys' business.
Yeah.
So, yeah, have a good one, guys.
Thank you. Have a nice one.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming on the podcast, guys. It was really great to hear about Core and all the opportunities you're seeing open up. I'll be excited to see what student-led startups pop up in the future. In the meantime, follow us on our socials to keep up with all things I2C. At UAH I2C on Instagram and Twitter, and UAH Invention to Innovation Center on Facebook. Onward and upward.